Round 16 is here. We have a shortened week of 5 games, and Draftstars picks are on their way. First game is the Panthers up against the Cowboys. Both sides very much decimated, even with the Cowboys very low on the ladder. They're missing lots of players here to Origin. Best news here is that Tom Dearden is back, so that is very helpful for the Cows, and I think makes this a closer game, although I do expect the Panthers to come out the victors in this one. Much closer game, though, with guys like Drinkwater, who've been in terrific form and then keeping their halves, and it's going to be very, very important. Jake Granville's going to be fairly serviceable as well. So let's look at these outside backs, and really, the biggest guys you want to be looking at is guys like Tyrone Peachey again at 10,700. It's going to be very, very cheeky there. You've also got Tom Jenkins, who comes in with plenty of wraps at 9,800. That's why he's priced up at that, because, Draftstars know how good he is, and he can do an awesome job scoring big there. Other than that, Taruva's been averaging really, really well, 44.7 his last 3, and then up top with Edwards or Drinkwater. Pick one if you have that extra cash, and try to get one of those in would be awesome. Halves and hookers, as I said, guys like Dearden are going to be pretty important, but Jake Granville should be getting close to the 80 minutes in this one, along with Jamin Salmon, who gets the 6 role here, and we know he was able to score 40 plus on a pretty reasonable regular basis last year. Those two are the guys before I'd go anyone up top. Obviously, Cogger, the 46 average across the two, 49.8 last week, so he'll do a job as well if you want him. But those two cheap guys are probably the way to go, and then mixing with the expensive guys in the outside backs would work well. You'd imagine here the two top forwards here in Hosking and Sorensen get pretty close to the 80 minutes with Liam Martin and other forwards being out. Fisher-Harris will keep avoiding at this point. Guys like Lucy Leilua and Helam Lukey both should get the big minutes. Lukey is more of a chance of scoring well, in my opinion. Just with Lucy at the moment, he seems to be struggling a little bit. And it always just depends how many minutes they give Matt Eisenhuth in this one with Isaiah Yeo out. Sometimes when he does come in and play the 13 role, he doesn't seem to get the minutes that you'd be looking for. So I'd be looking right up top with those two edge back rowers for Panthers, and then going that little bit cheaper there. Next game, we come to the Knights and the Roosters, and the outside backs there. Guys like Dane Gagai have been absolutely dominant and averaging 54. Had a couple of lighter weeks there, 40 and a 27, but back to a 61. And I really think the Knights can win this game. So I personally would be selecting Joey Manu and also Kalen Ponga. We unfortunately miss out on having Greg Marzhew in the side, but yeah, Ponga back to his best last week. Manu back at the fullback position. So let's select those two there. I think Junior Pauga is obviously one that, I think in a closer game, he is worth it at that cheaper price. He's potentially in your flex as well. Halves and hookers, obviously here, Luke Keary is going to be the dominant playmaker. He's averaging 59 in his last 3, which is awesome news. Felix Crossland was a guy that we have been looking at, not averaging anywhere near as good as that of Jake Turpin with the Tacklebot Terp 64 last week. Again at 12,800, he'll score 40 plus unless he gets injured. So very, very comfortable there. And then you have Sandon Smith, who will be the halfback in this game, who is also an option for your flex. But he did play a fair few minutes last week and wasn't able to get the job done. But in that halves position, tackles and kick meters should be there for Sandon. So definitely a 9K option there. And then in the forwards, Nat Butcher goes to the middle. I'm not super excited on that one. Egan Butcher still on that edge, scoring okay at the moment. But really, you want to be looking at someone like Siltili Tupanua, still fairly cheap and back on the edge, which is good. And Dylan Lucas gets a start on the edge for the Knights at 10.5k. So he's definitely going to be able to do a job and should get pretty big minutes in this one, considering they don't have clear options on the to come on for the edge, other than like Jack Hetherington could play some time there. So that's all the picks in that game. Eels come up against the Eagles in this one. So Eagles. And Ruben Garrick dominated last week with a mammoth 100.7. So he's someone I just don't think is going to score as well in this one here. And Will Penasini has been given a big bump in price as well after his good score last week of 51. You look at guys like Clint Gutherson and 74 last week. He will be kicking goals as well, so he can definitely be a big talking point or a big player, important player for this Eels side, and you can definitely look at him. KO Weeks at 9k has to improve from what he's been providing at that one position. It was really hard in this at the moment. Guys like Bailey Simonson are very consistent in the last 3, so he's someone at 13-2. Him and Gutho that you could definitely select and feel a little bit more confident if you think that the Eels can come out and win this one. What about the halves hookers? We see Ryan Madison, who's obviously our back rower, middle player there. He is in that position. Jake Arthur, Brendan Hands, Dejan Arce, all in control. And I think Arce at 10,500, That's really ridiculous in my opinion that he is the cheapest of all of the halves in this one. Schuster, Arthur, Dejan Arce there, and Madison. I think Madison's way too expensive to play in the halves. Dejan Arce will do the bulk of the kicking meters, and he still able to score 42.2 last week there. So get him in your side, and then go straight to the forwards. Guys like Hopgood, I think, are going to be the big minute guys in this one. Regan Campbell-Gillard getting back to some of his best play after his first game back, which is good. Samuel Fainu, if he gets the start, then awesome. Ogden should get bigger minutes this week. He got 36.6 last week, and I think he can do something similar in this one. And then you go, really, nothing else below that. Joe O can come back and play well. You got Sipley. There's a bit of an awkward price. $10 per second, pretty expensive. So Hopgood, Olakawatu. Bryce Cartwright keeps doing great things there. 60 last week at his 15.5K. So he's definitely a good option as well to go along with guys like Andrew Davey as a solid scorer last week. Last two games, the Tigers up against the Storm. Dream Buller continues to absolutely dominate with a 58.8 average. Do we think the Storm can come out and win this one? They're missing their top dogs there, but the Tigers are missing Api Coruscant and Luke Brooks, which I think really, really hurts them. I would expect the Storm to come out and win this one still. And really, in the back line, it is hard to make some selections. Asu Kapoa ends up in the centers, guys, and I think he's a good guy to have in there, considering he's been playing limited minutes off the bench. Good tackles, good run meters for Asu in that starting center role previously earlier in the year. Nick Meaney, the solo one there. Marion Seve, a nice 39.7 last week. So a mixture of those guys. George Jennings, we've been waiting for all year as well, but not super excited in the outside backs, to be honest. Guys like David Nofaluma can score well without getting tries. So he might be the safest one at just under 17K. And you look in the halves hookers, you've got Husey there, which is going to be the dominant playmaker for the Storm. You've got Wakeham is going to be the dominant guy for the Tigs, and he's much cheaper, and I think he's a better option there. And then Jonah Pezzett, I think he can come out and do really well. Also, got the 23.8 last time he did play. So a couple of low ones in amongst some 40 scores. He'll be solid, but the main guy you must select in this one, in my opinion, is Bronson Garlick. He should be able to get really big minutes in that hooking role. Good tackles and good running there. And then Jake Simpkin. Both going to get that sort of 60, 65 minutes in their side, spelled by Wishart and also De Silva. So at least lock one of those two in your flex. And then go heavy up top with a Wakeham or a Hughes, I would say. You could go both cheap in there and then go for the forwards if you like, because there's a bunch of really strong forwards here. And that's probably the strategy I would go for. Go cheap in that halves hookers, a couple of the 9K guys. Spend up a little bit in the outside backs and along with the forwards with guys like Isaiah Papali'i and Bateman. I really think selecting both of them and potentially a mixture of a Nelson or a Tui Kamikamika and also Shawnee Bloor, who gets that start again, are all going to do a great job. And someone to note there is Tarek Sims getting the start there for the on the edge. So plenty of changes means plenty of potential options for sure. And then the Sharkies up against the Dogs. We just found out that Matt Burton is gone. So I'd suggest that Oluwapu gets the bulk of the kick meters and the like in this one, and Kyle Flanagan is likely to return. So at least at a minimum, it's going to be split between Oluwapu and Flanagan. Flanagan should come in and kick goals as well, given he'll get that opportunity as well. So yeah, be a welcome back for him. I think either way, Oluwapu is probably the better bet right now because he's been playing. Flanagan's been playing a fair bit of 9. So yeah, Carl will have a lot of the control, but Flanagan will goal kick there as well. Nico Hines, you expect a massive bounce back from him. He had a pretty poor one last week, actually on the field, but still ended up with a 60. So when he actually plays well, he will go nuts, and he's the best pick there, obviously. Outside backs, they're fairly cheap, which is good news. Braden Burns is probably your best from the Dogs, but he's obviously the most expensive of them as well. Jesse Ramian, a bit of a shocker last week. Just really put all of these guys down for a bounce back. So pick who you like in the outside backs there for the Sharkies. The other one there is Rajab would be a chance to come into the start. And if he does at 9K, he'll be a good option. And Flanagan could come onto the bench there. It's all a possibility for sure. And then the forwards, Jacob Preston continues to dominate there, 59 in his last 3. Britton Nakora drops down a little bit in price, and I think that's a good one here. I reckon he can score a try. It is going to be a really nice tussle, Preston v Nikora there, and he's one of those two I would be selecting for sure. Tavita Pangai could be a solo one. Ockenball, we've been talking up a little bit, and he's just not performing like he did or anything close to it. Those games that he had a few weeks ago. So that's Ockenball there. And then from there's not a lot, to be honest with you. Chris Patolo at the cheap price, I would definitely look at selecting. I think he can score a 30 plus now that he's, you got caught up to the starting side. I think this week he'll be an important player as well and get you a 30 or so there potentially. In second game back, you can get some attacking stats on that front. So good luck with your Draft Stars picks, guys, and your teams that you're putting together. And I wish you plenty of luck. Make sure if you are new to Draft Stars, guys, go in the link in the description. Just let Draft Stars know that you've been watching my videos. So thank you very much for that, and good luck this week.